But yeah, man, tune into the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with your brother Oh God and SamAnt. I want to transition over to this next topic, but before I do, I want to take a station identification break. Encourage everybody to go ahead and hit that 5-star rating. And people's like, yo, I don't see it on YouTube. You're not going to see it on YouTube. You're going to actually see it or on the podcast. You can hit that 5-star rating and leave a comment. But I want to jump over to T.I. He sat down with the Breakfast Club today, man. It was a real interesting 30-minute interview, but one of the segments that stuck out to us that we wanted to talk about here on the Hip Hop Uncensored podcast with T.I. pretty much saying that Jay-Z called him out for putting Pac #1 on his top 50 rappers list. I'm going to play what T.I. said, and then we're going to talk about this.
Now, you put Pac over Hov. Why was that? Oh, you know what? Hov called. Mm-hmm. We were talking about something else, something else completely non-related, you know what I'm saying? And then he said, oh, and by the way. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and by the way, you really believe that? Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, I do. When it comes to impact, I do. Impact? Yeah. Only reason I say that is because time shows like Hov's still around. No disrespect to Pac, God bless the team, but Hov's still around. I think Hov is the greatest rapper alive. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You dig what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I do. I believe he's the greatest rapper alive. And I think over time, man, he's eventually going to assume that position. I think you're number one now. Okay. I think you're number one now. And the only reason I say that, one thing about Pac, man, Pac didn't get a chance to, like, his influence is seen everywhere. Uh-huh. He didn't get it.
All right, so that's the culmination of the clip.
Yeah,
there, SamAnt. What were your thoughts on that, man? Him putting Tupac above Jay-Z on the top 50 list, but saying impact alone, he had more impact than Jay-Z. Do you agree?
No. Well, a couple things caught my attention. The fact that Jay-Z cared, and we'll break that down and talk about that.
All right.
But the fact that he said maybe one day Hov will be able to catch up. And that's where I got to question T.I. Because how much more does Hov have to do in comparison to what Pac did in the rap game? Now, let's be careful and let's be very clear on deciphering the two. Impact out of the booth and impact in the booth. When you're talking about greatest rapper of all time, we got to even exclude what Jay-Z's doing as far as being a billionaire. Let's talk about his body of work from 96 to 2017 when Reasonable Doubt came out in 96 and 444 came out in 2017. We're talking about what? Damn near 17, 18 years worth of work. Yeah. Tupac came out with 4 studio albums. Obviously, that got terribly cut short, dying at the age of 25 in 96, September 13th, 96, if I'm not mistaken.
Long time ago.
Very long time ago. And for people to be afraid to put people in front of Big or Pac or anybody that has passed away is very wrong. And we got to be careful because we give our criticism to Jay-Z on a business level and all that stuff, and it's just due. But when it comes to rap, I don't think we've ever seen anybody do it better. And let's appreciate and give him his flowers now, because we all good and goddamn know when he dies, they're going to all call him that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And if he deserves it now based off of the 20 years of body of work that he's given us, let's call him that now. I don't like the conversational. I mean, you know what? Your opinion is your opinion, like we just talked about on here. But I would have to disagree with T.I. on that. And a lot of people will be mad at me, even though I got the rose that grew from concrete tatted on my arm. And I follow Pac just as hard as anybody else. I would have to put Jay-Z right now as the greatest rapper of all time.
And Impact too. Impact.
He's
yeah, definitely.
How not? I mean, he went from a crack dealer in Marcy Projects to a billionaire in 20-something years, something that wasn't supposed to be done. Now, Tupac was on his way, and he died an icon. He was on his way to becoming something, who knows, bigger than rap.
But who knows?
It
got cut short.
And that's unfortunate, but we can't base it off of hope and base it off of what he could have been and base it off of this. And like we want to so bad, it's just not fair to do.
Right. Yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda. You can't go by that. I think T.I. is just a little bit more biased and partial to Pac. One, him being from the South and having that connection with the West. And two, because they kind of come in the same vein. It's a little, disturbing that he wouldn't have Jay-Z up there. But I remember Jay-Z, had a line on his Grammy Family freestyle. I can't remember a verbatim, but he was like, pretty much, people say, that, I'm better than Big and Pac, but then some people say I don't. And he said pretty much like, how you expect me to be better when they got me fighting ghosts? He said something, you know, and that's the point you made is like they never going to give him, just because Pac was cut short and he died, and it was that whole, you know, the outpouring of love and support because of the tragic event. I think people are scared or shook to say somebody alive could be better than somebody's dead. I think that point right there is an amazing point, but it's just like, also what you say, like, damn, I mean, Jay-Z, look what, I mean, what else, I mean, if he ain't got it now, he never getting it. He's never getting it in your eyes. I mean, he done everything. He accomplished everything. He had his own streaming service. Now, we disagree with some of his politics and whatnot with the NFL, but I mean, you know, businesses, liquor, vodka, streaming services, anything you can name, this dude has done it. Sports agencies, you know, music, mogul, rap mogul, clothing, you know, liquor, vodka, whatever you want to name, this dude has done it, and done it bigger than anybody has ever done it. So it's a little sad that T.I., you know, doesn't have him up on his list. And I can see why, though. You say why, oh, you know, why Jay-Z, you know, we'll call him, why does he even care? I kind of, you know, I can see why now, because T.I., being who he is, you're like, damn, dog, really? This nigga's dead. This dude died dude died in 1996. He ain't have a chance to do, you know, nearly half is what I did. And he damn sure ain't a better lyricist than me. So come on.
So do you think it's because of T.I. that Jay-Z was upset? Or do you think that Jay-Z really pays attention to all of these lists and all of these forms and where he stands as far as the greatest rapper of all time? We heard even when he was going through his beef with Nas, he was considering himself the greatest then, and going at people for questioning who was better, Jay-Z, Big, Nas, Pac, even then. And that was 15 years ago. So even now it's like, or 10 years ago, probably longer than that, damn near longer than 10 years ago. But it's like, is it sitting on his mind? Is he really, one, he definitely wants to be number one. He wants to be number one. He's made that known. But does he care that in people's eyes, and in some people's eyes, he still isn't considered number one? I won't say he's looking at all the lists, but I think he does care people that, you know, in his kind of circle, not inner circle, but, you know, when things go down, the Rock Nation, see T.I. little ass up in there, you know what I mean, and doing his thing, and it's a certain group of people that be in those meetings. So I think he probably does. And now T.I., you know, birthing an Expeditiously podcast right now, you know, trying to position himself as one of the premier voices of hip hop, if he already wasn't before. I mean, but, you know, I think that Jay-Z definitely cares. You know, not that he expected T.I. to probably, you know, talk about it on the Breakfast Club, but I'm like, yo, dog, like, really? It's a little surprise. I could get how you could think it's surprising, but in the breath, I could see the other, you know, side of the spectrum too. It's like, yo, man, you're big in the game now. You getting how many views they getting, you know, per hit? You said they're killing it. So it's just like, yeah, it means something. His words. You know, I seen something on Eddie Murphy. I was just telling you about the Dolomite movie that dropped on Netflix October 25th. It's a good movie. If anybody hasn't seen it, I suggest you go watch that on Netflix. But Eddie Murphy was interviewed, and he was asked about his top 5 comedians of all time, and he just deaded it completely. He said Richard Pryor is 1 through 5. He's the greatest. Blah 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 blah. Now, we all know good and goddamn well that Eddie Murphy is one of the greatest comedians of all time. He's top 5 comedians of all time. He had Raw and Delirious, 2 record-setting comedy shows at the time. We've seen Kevin Hart recently break that, but it's kind of like a musician breaking the streaming record when you had albums back in the day that had to get physically sold. It's kind of apples and oranges, but it is what it is. Him saying that it was only Richard and Richard only kind of paid homage to, let's say, the GOAT. And for him to kind of do that, he doesn't care about where he stands. I would kind of equate his greatness to Jay-Z's greatness in their different genres. So that's why it kind of surprises me, oh God, that he looked at a T.I. and maybe he holds T.I. to a certain respect to where that's like, damn, I still ain't did enough for you to earn your respect and get number one. I can understand that dichotomy, but it just surprises me that a brother on his level, a billionaire, would even see T.I.'s list, let alone care. But
a lot of people, I mean, even to you know, a lot of people, Tupac probably went and became a billionaire. That ain't like it's everybody's doing that around these parts. How many rappers have came? It ain't, you know, and haven't made it, you know, to that mark. There's no guarantee. We just don't know. We don't know if he would have fell off. We don't know if he would have started doing a different type of music, or he would have went in the moves. We just don't know. What we do know is what Jay-Z did and what he's doing right now. So yeah, obviously, I mean, he cared because he asked him about it. I don't think T.I.'s lying. So, you know, it is what it is with that particular thing. But, you know, we're putting together our little list. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but I think it's a dope thing just to have talking points, because at the end of the day, I mean, like, you're gonna have so many different opinions and different thoughts from different people. Your list is gonna be different than mine, probably similar, but definitely different. The next person sitting here is gonna have different lists, but it does bring up good commentary and discussion points for hip hop, man. Definitely
great talking points, and it was great that T.I. shared that story because you don't often get to hear Jay-Z human. I think one of the things that have Pac on the list over Jay-Z and over a lot of people is the fact that Pac was so personable, Pac was so touchable. People that was around him knew that they could have a conversation with him, where Jay-Z is almost like this mythical figure where you don't know if he even sleeps at night because you don't really get to, outside of his inner circle, no one really
sleeps upside down.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who knows?
Right.
No one's really accessible to him like that. So maybe it's that love and that closeness that Pac had with the people that'll always kind of keep him a step above over people's eyes. And I'm not mad at that. But when it comes to rap and strictly rap, I don't think it's cool.
What do you think about his point, though, in closing this conversation out, where he said that you can go anywhere in the world and, you know, people are going to start reciting Tupac lyrics. Do you agree with that against Jay-Z? I think go anywhere, in my opinion, people are going to know some Jay-Z songs, too, wherever you go.
People are going to know Jay-Z songs. People are going to know Pac songs. People are going to know Pac poetry. People are going to know Pac spoken word. Pac was more of a speaker than Hove was, clearly. When it comes to speaking, when it comes to articulating yourself, it ain't even close. Pac would destroy Hove. But when it comes to rapping, you got to give it to Hove, man.
Yeah.
You got to give it to Hove. So I think that people, when you hear people reciting Pac, it could be with Pac, something that Pac said, or it could be a poem, or it could be this or that. Mm-hmm. People just resonated with his spirit and anything he said. But lyrically, somebody responding or repeating a rap, they're going to know both.
Yeah. In fact, I definitely have to 100%, agree with you on that right there. But yeah, man, great, point. He also talked about Iggy, but we talked about that already, trying to clean that up. An interesting point he said was, that she pretty much, it was cool. But once she found out that the white people liked her, she kind of changed and got a big head. What do you think about that?
It's his responsibility to check her as his artist.
Right.
And I mean, you could check a person to a certain level, but you control the flow. You control when the music's being distributed. You control a lot of things in her career that if you've seen a certain thing or a certain thing that made you go, you could have halted that, but you let that monster in your eyes, if you saying that's what she was doing, become even bigger and bigger and bigger. And now she's doing records with Megan Thee Stallion and doing this and doing that. She's not going anywhere. We said, I think we questioned her career, but she has her certain fan base and demographic, and they still gonna rock with her. So yeah, you helped create that. You got to hold some responsibility in that too. And it seemed like even though you tried to kind of clear up what you said, you still threw her.